Okay, so let them join later. For today, I'll share the recorded option. We are now getting recording option also enabled because the admin has enabled. So I'll be able to record it now. So I think you'll get notification uh, because I have started. You have to give your consent to accept for recording this meeting. If you get that notification, please click on OK for OK or whatever option you get. Fine. So let us start. In our daily life, we'll be using many software applications. Some applications on mobile devices, these are our mobile phones, and some applications on computers, on personal computers using a browser. So all these softwares we can call them as application softwares. All these softwares we can call them as application softwares. But based on whether these applications require an internet or not, we can classify them uh, those applications that which utilize the internet facility and a browser. Sometimes without even a browser also they'll be used. Such applications which require internet to access them or to use them or to run them. Right? So when you are using, what will happen? The application software will be running on your device, on whatever device you are using it, whether it is on your personal computer or whether it is on mobile device, wherever you are using that application. We say when you are using that application is running. Okay. So where that application is running means it is not running actually on your device. It is running somewhere on a remote computer system, which we call it as a server, right? But the result you are able to see, you are provided with an interface, which we call it as a graphical user interface, and you can interact with the application which is located on the server by using that interface. So whatever actions you perform on the application, by just if it is your mobile application, you will be simply tapping on the application with your finger, right? If it is a person desktop application or a browser-based application, you'll use a mouse cursor to perform an action. And sometimes you may text your name. For example, you want to log into a Gmail account or Facebook account or any other web-based application. So if you already have an account, you'll enter your email ID and then password and click on the sign in button. So all these things that you're able to see on the screen and interact with that application, that part is nothing but called as graphical user interface. In short, we call it as GUI. So this GUI has many controls like buttons, radio buttons, check boxes, text fields, text areas, drop down like options. All these things we call them as web form controls. Using these form controls by performing any action on those controls by either using a mouse or a finger by tapping with a finger if it is a mobile application, right? So any application software contains all these things when you are using it. So you are all aware of all these applications because nowadays everyone is using a smartphone and they are using some applications. The very commonly used application is WhatsApp. Even now also I'm communicating with you regarding this class through WhatsApp only, right? So WhatsApp is an example of a web application. Facebook that you're using on your mobile device is also an example of a web application. And even if you can use Facebook even using a browser on your personal computer also, either a laptop or a desktop computer. So how to use it? You will type this address for Facebook, www.facebook.com. To log into your Gmail account, you will use this URL. So these are all URLs, right? So now that you understood what is a web application, a web application is nothing but a software application which will run with internet, which will run with internet. If there is no internet, then your application, your web application will not run. So what are the application softwares that you are using now or you have already used in the past which do not require internet? For example, you are using a PowerPoint presentation. You don't require a internet facility to use that PowerPoint presentation, even the Word document, Excel sheet, Acrobat Reader, and Notepad application, which is located on your computer only. So all these softwares which do not require internet, they are available on your system only. They are stored on your system only, and you are running them also on your system only, right? So such applications are called as standalone applications. They are called as standalone applications. So I hope you understood the difference between standalone applications and web applications. Standalone applications do not require internet to run them, and they are run on our local computer systems only, on our personal computer systems only, right? And whereas coming to the web applications, they require internet and they are not run on our computer system. They are located on a different remote computer system, which we call as a server. We call it as a server, right? So they are run on the server computer system. And coming to the standalone application, one more difference you can observe is a standalone application will be used only by one person simultaneously. That means if your MS Office is installed on your computer, only you can use that MS Office at one point of time. So can anyone else use that application from another system? Nobody can use it, right? So only you can use. So standalone applications are single user applications. And whereas coming to web application, they are multi-user applications. At the same time, you have logged into your Gmail account using a browser by typing this URL in the address bar of the browser. Somebody else also might have already joined, or they may join in the coming time, right? So multiple users will be using this application software simultaneously. And how that is possible? Because this application is located on a remote computer system, and you can connect to that remote computer system by using this URL. So let me open the notepad and tell for you all these things. These are all not actually part of your syllabus. Directly, I need to start from HTML concepts. But before introducing you all these concepts in the subject, it is meaningless teaching you directly HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and all without knowing their purpose. So before learning any technology, you must know what is the purpose of the technology first, and how it can be used in real time applications, in real time scenario. So then you'll understand why I have to learn this particular technology, right? So why to learn this HTML, why to learn PHP, why to learn JavaScript, why learn servlets, why learn JSP, right? So that is how a good teacher will teach you. So let me first introduce this fast and then go to that slide presentation and then present you with some more details, and then we'll start from the next class directly HTML. So we can classify all the application softwares that we use in our daily life into two categories. So first one is standalone application. So what are examples for these application softwares means the MS Office that we use on our computer systems, Acrobat Reader, another familiar one, and then antivirus. Any antivirus software that you install on your computer is also a standalone application, and any other softwares that you install on your computer, they also come under standalone applications. So what is the key factor for this standalone application means it does not require internet, right? So what are the features means for the standalone applications? Does not require internet to use, right? So this is first feature, and second feature is only one user can use it at a time. right? And coming to the second one, web application. So examples for this are any Facebook application, Facebook, WhatsApp, any other applications, Instagram, Twitter, all these come under Amazon application, Flipkart app. So all these come under web application examples. So coming to the features of this web application, so internet is mandatory. Internet is required, and multiple users can use it at a time. And one more additional feature is I forgot to mention here in standalone application. So three features you can have: does not require internet, only one user can use it at a time, and third feature is runs on local computer system, right? Coming to the third feature of web application, it runs on a remote computer called as a server, right? So these are the features. I hope I listed all of the things that we discussed earlier, right? So many people are disturbing me by texting me. Now, is this visible? I have shared my complete screen. Earlier, I shared only the PowerPoint presentation. So now you can see the features. The first kind of application software is standalone application, and second kind of application is web application. Okay, so examples of standalone applications include MS Office, Acrobat Reader, antivirus, uh, and features include does not require internet to use it. Only one user can use it at a time, and the application runs on local computer system. That means on your own PC. Right? Okay, I'll mention for more clarity, PC or any other device. Right? And coming to web application, examples are Facebook, WhatsApp, Amazon, Flipkart, etc. And coming to features of web application, it requires internet. So internet is required. Multiple users can use it at a time. So that means at the same time I'm using my WhatsApp, you also will be using it. So that is how we communicate with each other, right? And even in Facebook also, you'll have chat facility. You can chat over Facebook also. And Amazon, at the same time you are purchasing an item from Amazon or Flipkart, somebody else also might be doing some transaction at the same time. So these are all examples of web applications. And coming to web application, let us confine ourselves to web application only, because we are not going to deal with standalone application in this subject, because the subject name itself is web technologies. So what this subject includes is all the softwares or technologies, programming technologies, you can say, that can be used in developing web-based applications or simply web applications, or even in short, we can call them as web apps, right? So I'll put it in the brackets here so that you can understand. Even web apps also refers to the same web applications. So let us confine ourselves for our discussion only to web application, because in this subject web technologies we are going to deal only with web applications. And coming to this web application, again you have further classification. First one, you have mobile applications. So these mobile applications, they run on mobile devices. Mobile devices in the same sense, your mobile phones. Coming to the second category, browser-based applications. So these applications, uh, they'll run using a browser, but they can be run both on mobile devices as well as PCs, personal computers. Personal computers include desktop computers and laptops also, right? So, so further, this is further classification under web applications. So we are not even going to deal with the mobile applications. So you have a subject called mobile application development in fourth year, first semester. So there you're going to learn this application development, that is mobile applications development, which run on mobile devices. But now we'll confine ourselves to creating applications that run on browsers of both mobile devices as well as personal computers, right? So, as part of creating these applications, we need to create some graphical user interfaces, because that is how these applications run. Uh, you know, your programming applications that you create, based on whether you have a graphical user interface or not, we can further classify them into two kinds of applications: console based applications as well as graphical user GUI based applications, right? So console based and GUI based. So we'll be developing GUI based applications. You already have learned some GUI based application development in Java programming in the last semester. But those GUI based applications are not internet related applications, most of them. We have created standalone applications there. But we can also create internet based web applications also using those concepts in Java. But they don't require browser to use them. But here in our subject in web technologies, so whatever programming technologies that you're going to learn in this subject, we are going to deal only with applications that run with the help of a browser and internet facility, right? So now let us go into our actual web application subject. Let me show you the slide for you. So as I told you, what is a web application? A web application, this is the point that we were discussing till now in that notepad window. So this discussion is all based on the single point in this first slide. What is a web application? A web application is an application program that is stored on a remote server and delivered over internet through a browser interface, right? So we'll have a browser interface, and that browser interface, through using that browser interface is nothing but whatever you are able to see in the browser window, which contains all the controls like text boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, text fields, buttons, hyperlinks, right? All these come under uh, the controls. So let us not discuss about the controls now. So our discussion is what is a web application. Then let us move now next to how this web application works. So if you look at this diagram, now you can see uh, the environment in which your web application runs. So you have a client computer. A client computer is nothing but your personal computer or a mobile phone using a browser or a laptop, right? So client refers to any of these devices. And this is the server. You're able to see this server, right? So this is the server. So what is this server going to contain means it is going to contain some resources. Resources are nothing but they are some set of programs. So there are some programs written using some programming technologies. So we are going to learn all those programming technologies. So you may write this resource or program using HTML, cascading style sheets, JavaScript, PHP, servlets, and JSP, right? So how this application runs means you'll open the browser window of your computer or your mobile phone if it is, for example. Then in the browser address bar, you know what is an address bar. So let me tell you what is an address bar. Let me show you. So when you open a browser window like this, you are able to see where you're going to type. Say, for example, now I want to open Amazon application. So I'll type the URL amazon.in, www.amazon.in. If I want to open Flipkart, I'll type flipkart.com. Right? So this bar where you're typing the address or the URL of the web application that you want to access. So this bar is called as address bar. In the address bar of the browser, what you'll do is you'll just type the uh, website URL and strike the enter key like this. Then what is happening in the background, you do not know what it is happening. You'll just know how to use it, right? So soon after you strike the enter key here, what you'll get is you'll get a response. From where you're getting this response, how this page is open now, how this interface, graphical user interface is visible to you. It is showing me a search bar where I can search for various products I want to purchase from this application. And if you want to search based on categories, you have all these user interface components, right? So this is a hyperlink. So this is one of the component, web application user interface component. Here I have an option to view my profile, all these things options. I can log out, I'll get notifications, gift cards, coupons, and I have chats, wish list, all these things, right? All these are constructed using the programming technologies that you're going to learn now in this subject. So we can create these kind of applications now here. So when I type this address bar and strike the enter key, what happens? A request will be sent to the server, right? So what is this request? You will not be able to see that request. Yeah, it'll happen in the background. So you're not nowhere related to that request. How that request will be sent to the server and how the server will respond back to you. All this is not necessary for you. Only thing you need to know is how to type the URL in the address bar, then get the response, right? So soon after you type the enter key on your computer, what will happen is a request will be generated. A request will be generated by the browser software on behalf of you. You are not actually generating the request, but you are only striking the enter key. And when soon after you strike the enter key on your keyboard, the browser will automatically generate a request and send that request to the server. So how will the browser know that this request must be sent to a particular server? So every server will have a unique name for identification. Okay, so that unique name is nothing but the URL that you type in the address bar, www.xyz.com. In this case, now I have opened Flipkart application. So the URL for it is flipkart.com. Right? So that is by it will take the browser will take that URL that you typed in the address bar and send the request to that particular server with that name, requesting for its home page. Then what does server does? It receives this request and searches for the home page that is available on the server. That home page is nothing but a resource. We call it as a resource, right? So then that resource is identified from its secondary storage of the server, and then uh, generated uh, and sent to the client browser. That HTML code or whatever code that page contains, that program contains, that is run, executed, and the output of that program is sent to the browser so that the user can see the output, right? So whatever output you are able to see on your browser window, that is generated by whom? By the server. and that output generated by the server and sent back to you in the browser is called as a response. So what is happening here is a request is being generated by the user or the client machine, and that request is sent to the server, and the server will respond back by generating a response and sending it back to the client machine. So because all this is happening, you are able to see within a fraction of seconds it will happen. All these things will happen in a fraction of seconds. Right? So soon after I typed flipkart.com and strike the enter key, immediately within seconds I got the response back from the server, and as a result of that response only I'm able to see all these graphical controls on my browser window. And if I don't have internet facility, can I access it? Will I get the response back? I'll not get, because internet is a medium or mechanism through which you are connected with your from your computer to the remote computer. Otherwise, you'll not have a connection between your computer and the remote server computer. Right? So that is a fundamental feature for this web applications to run. And why we use the term web application? Because uh, World Wide Web. So all these servers are connected through something called a mechanism called World Wide Web. So that's the reason why for the URLs you will have www dot some url.com or .ac.in, simply.in, like this you'll have depending on which country you are from, which in which country the server is located. If it is in India, we'll have .in. For example, for Amazon, uh, the URL is amazon.in, right? URL is amazon.in. So what does that in specify? That means this is located in India. This application is for Indian users, Indian customers. Similarly, if we have US, it is related to US. UK, it is related to UK, right? So in that way, you have different extensions. This is called as extension. So the dot, whatever dot in you have, that is called as extension. And irrespective of to which country it belongs to, some URLs will have .com. So .com means it is for commercial purpose. COM means commercial purpose. And for some applications, for example, for VJT website, you have .ac.in. .ac.in is related to academic institutions. AC stands for academic institutions. Okay, so in that way, you'll have different kinds of extensions. Let us not spend time on those URL extensions. So now that you understood how a web application works, how a request is sent, and how a response is generated, and now you'll call this request as HTTP request. Call this request as HTTP request. Why it is called as HTTP request means, uh, you know, if you want to communicate with any two persons, for example, we need to have some protocol, right? Not just friends speaking to each other. If say, for example, you want to meet a VIP, like an MLA or a minister or someone, there is a protocol you need to follow for it. You need to get the appointment initially from his personal secretary. Then you will get a timing, appointment time, and all these things. Then at that time, you need to go to that person's office or something, whatever it is. Then you can meet there during only that time. So this is some set of rules that we follow to communicate with a person. So just like this, even computer devices, your computer, that is your client system, if it wants to communicate with the server, what it has to do is it has to follow some protocol, right? So two computer devices which are connected through internet, they follow some protocol. What is that protocol that you are going to follow here is HTTP protocol. So what does this stands for means? Hypertext. You know what is hypertext? Let me tell you later. Hypertext transfer protocol. Right? HTTP stands for hypertext transfer protocol. So this is the protocol that will be used when when a client computer is communicating with the server using internet, because we need to, both the computers have to follow some set of rules to communicate with each other, and that set of rules we call it as a protocol. So there are many protocols available, For example, there is another protocol called FTP protocol, which stands for File Transfer Protocol. Then you have some other protocol called SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, for exchanging emails. Right. So there are many protocols. So you will learn about these protocols in a computer network subject. You have that subject, I think, in this semester only. So you'll learn about those protocols in that subject. But for time being, in our subject, we are going to use the protocol called HTTP protocol. So that is the reason why when you open the browser window of your computer and strike the enter, after typing the URL, you are striking the enter key. Then after that, if you look at the URL that you typed, additionally, some part is added at the beginning. What is that part? HTTPS colon two forward slashes and then www.amazon.in, like this, right? Why this is coming? Because your browser is communicating with the server of Amazon using the protocol called HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So earlier this HTTP would be like this, simply HTTP, but now you'll have S also. S means for security, right? So you're communicating with the Amazon server in a secured manner using the protocol HTTP protocol. So that is the meaning of this HTTPS. Okay. So now let us go back to uh, our web application concept. So with this, I would complete or conclude this introduction to what a web application is and how web application works. But there is some, we can elaborate the discussion and go ahead discussing individually about what is a HTTP request, how it works in the background, how will you get a response. All these contents you will also I can teach you. But let us discuss these concepts when we start using the programming technologies and create applications on our own, right? Then we'll start discussing about those applications, because it will take more time for discussing them exclusively theoretically and again one more time practically. So at the time we do practically, same time we can discuss these concepts at the same time, right? Now let us go into HTML concepts, which are part of the first unit. But before that, let me instruct you. Uh, in the last year, when I dealt Python programming subject, I used to insist all of you to get your laptops to the classroom. Some of you have laptops and some do not have laptops. And even if some of you have the laptops, you were saying some excuses that you cannot carry daily. It is heavy in your bags to get to the classroom daily, right? But now I think you don't have that problem. All of you are at home, and if most of you are having a desktop computer or a laptop computer, I suggest you to follow my class immediately by opening your notepad and typing the program then and there and executing it on your computer system, right? So this is how you will learn the programming language in a very well manner. So then and there, if you are executing and if you are having any problems, you can ask, you can put some queries, then I'll answer your queries and I'll solve your problems also. Like I did in the last year, very few, at least one per bench used to bring the laptop last year. But now I hope everyone will have a computer now, a laptop, either a laptop or a desktop computer, so you can use them right now. But before going into the HTML topics and all these things, let me tell you about some software requirements that you require now as of now. So your unit one is completely based on topics like HTML, uh, cascading style sheets, which is in short called as CSS, and then uh, you have JavaScript. This is part of first unit, and then coming to unit two, you have XML, which stands for Extensible Markup Language. So let us discuss about that later when we start unit 2. And in unit 3, you have it is completely based on a programming technology called PHP. Unit 4 is completely based on servlets. Okay, so these are based on Java programming. So you must be good at Java programming to understand these servlets. Then Unit 5, coming to Unit 5, you have Java server pages. So again, this is also based on Java programming. What we call it as JSP. So this PHP is a recursive acronym for PHP Hypertext Preprocessor, right? So in PHP, the first P stands again for PHP, and then the second H and P stands for Hypertext Preprocessor. So if you ask again what is this PHP, again you can say P is again PHP and HP is Hypertext Preprocessor. So this is called as a recursive acronym. Okay, I'll mention that clearly here. This is recursive acronym for PHP Hypertext Preprocessor. Right. So now that you know what are the technologies you're going to learn in various units. Let me tell you what are the softwares that you need to install on your computer for all these for learning all these technologies. For HTML and XML part, that is all the topics that you have in the first two units, they do not require any software to install. Just you need to have a browser installed on your computer. So anyhow, by default, if you are using a Windows operating system, you'll have an Internet Explorer browser. Even you'll also have Google Chrome and Firefox or any other browsers. And if you are using an Apple, also you'll have Firefox by default, and you can use any other alternative browsers also. So browser is available on every computer by default. So you can use any of those browsers to run the programs that are written in all these technologies, which are part of first unit and second unit. But from third unit onwards, you require some additional softwares to be installed. So meanwhile, let us hope we'll complete the first two units, and by the time we complete the first two units, let us hope that classes will be conducted offline in the college campus. Then I can be more interactive, and I'll guide you through installing all the required softwares that are required for all the three other units in the subject. But as of now, you don't require any softwares to use them. Just you need to have a browser. Okay. So now, so I'll stop presenting this PowerPoint presentation and I'll start using Notepad. So where I can type the programs directly. So once again, I'm reminding you, if anybody has not texted your roll numbers in the chat, you please text your roll number. If you have already texted, you can sit idle and listen to my class. So let me first open a new window. So how to create HTML programs. So as part of first unit, I told you, you'll learn HTML, CSS and JavaScript, right? So HTML is used to create those user interface components like radio buttons, checkboxes, text boxes, and direct simply you can also have a text displayed on your web page. So now you can call this as a web page, whatever you are seeing in the browser window, whatever content you are able to see in the browser window and scroll it. This is called as a web page. So your application, web application that is located on your server will contain a number of web pages. It contains number of web pages, right? So a web application uh, is composed of or comprises many web pages. Okay? So what do you mean by web page? A web page is nothing but just like a paper, you have a page in your textbook. A web application also has pages in it, but the difference is the pages in your textbook are paper pages. Physically, you can feel and touch them. Even here also you can touch them, but these are electronic pages. These are all electronic pages. Okay, so these web pages can be two types. They are either static or dynamic. So the web pages can either be static or dynamic. And coming to static web pages are stable. They don't have any. They do not respond. They're not interactive and don't respond. They don't respond to the user actions. So you will be performing some actions on the application, right? Say, for example, now I have uh, my mobile's link here available in the browser window here. So if I click on this, I'll get something, right? Some change has appeared in my application. So I'm able to see new content here. Earlier I was able to see some other content. Now I'm able to see some other content. So if I search for example, laptops here, I'll choose the category something else. Let me choose electronics. So I can search based on whatever content I want to say, for example, a refrigerators I want to search. So if I click on this link, the content is changing, right? So such pages are called as here actually the page is changing. Earlier you have a different page and now you have a different page. But sometimes what will happen is in a web page, for example, you are logging into your Gmail application or Amazon application. You'll enter your username and password and click on the sign in button. Then soon after you click on the sign in button, if by mistake, if by chance, if you have made a mistake in the password or the username, what is the page going to respond to you back? It will say invalid username or password. Please try again. So how is that response generated? Because your web page is dynamic. Because your web page is dynamic. So a web page which is dynamic will interact with you and give a response to you whenever you perform some action on it. But those web pages that are static, they'll not have that feature. They'll not respond to you. They'll not give any notification for you, or the content will not change in the page. Such pages are called as static web pages. Okay. So coming to let us start with static web pages now, because in the first unit using HTML, we can only create static web pages. So what is the purpose of HTML is? HTML is used to create static web pages. You know, HTML stands for hypertext markup language. What is the purpose of hypertext markup language? It is used to create static web pages, right? So this is what we are going to do with HTML, and this is what I want to introduce to you in today's session. So from the next session onwards, from the next class onwards, we'll directly start using hypertext markup language and writing some programs, creating some programs. So from the next class onwards, I request and I expect also from most of you, a majority of you, using your laptops or desktop computers. If anybody is located in a remote location and you don't have a personal computer, at least be alert in the class. And I'm recording my class, so I can share it on my YouTube channel. All these links, I'll share it to you soon after I complete the recording and uploading it to the YouTube. I'll share that link to you so that you can watch in that link. Even if some people are having any network issues and could not join this session today, or even if you joined also, if you have any network issues and if you have any lagging in my session, then you can watch it on YouTube without any lag. so that it will be beneficial to you. So for today, let us leave, and from the next class onwards, I request all of you to join the class with your computer and laptop only, so that you can practice the programs that I display here at the same time. You can do it on your laptops also, or you can use both mobile and laptop. By looking into mobile, you can type it into your laptop, right? So let us leave for today. So thank you for joining the session. So we'll meet on Monday. You have Monday, I think at 10:45, I think, right? So thank you all. You can leave the class. If you have texted your roll number, you can leave the class. If you have not texted, please text and leave the class.